Welcome everyone to our May 19th Board of Education meeting. If you will, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone to our meeting. I just have a statement I'd like to read at the beginning of the meeting. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I'd like us to start off our meeting as we have for the last several meetings with a moment of silence for all those who have died or have been ill due to COVID-19. Thank you so much. Okay, today I would like to acknowledge and thank all of the people on the front lines, our doctors, our nurses, our EMTs, and our other healthcare professionals, our grocery store staff, our pharmacy staff, and all those who are helping us during this crisis. We must also thank our students and their parents for the perseverance in distance learning, and we know it has been hard. To our teachers, thank you for encouraging and helping our students continue to learn. And we know how this is a very new environment for all of us. To our nurses, thank you for checking on our child care for our emergency workers. Our cafeteria staff are still preparing food for our children. We want to thank them. Our custodians are cleaning and disinfecting our buildings. Our central office staff under the leadership of Dr. McCahill for their absolutely amazing leadership. Our principals in each of the buildings for leading their staff and their students, and to the Board of Education for their continued support of Nanuet schools. I'd like to especially thank tonight Andrea Doblier, who's our district clerk, who has done yeoman's work with all of the things that she has had to prepare and she has had to learn on how to do this new budget vote and balloting. And she has spent many hours doing this. And thank you, Andrea, for all that you have done for all of us. We cannot thank you enough. You've just been absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you, Anne.
No, I mean, I know how much work you put in, so thank you. We really do appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. We all know that these are very trying times for everyone, but we also know that we are very resilient people. And one of the things we really want to make sure that everyone understands how important it is to stay safe and to stay home. That is the only way that we're flattening the curve. And it's really important that we do that. To the class of 2020, we're feeling your pain. Your senior year has been so interrupted. We're really proud of you and all the accomplishments that you have made, in the arts, in the community, in the classroom, on the sports field, on the stage. And your class, especially your class, have really been leaders in our high school. And there is nothing that I can say that will make you feel better about not having your prom or about the regulations around graduation. We want nothing more than to celebrate you, our amazing seniors, and your accomplishments. And we will do everything that we are allowed to do. So just let you know, we're thinking about you and we love you. We miss you. To the rest of our students, we miss that joyful noise that we hear in our classrooms and our hallways. Your teachers miss you, your administrators miss you, and I know you miss each other. And we know it's hard. And it will be really wonderful when we can all be back in our buildings and in our classrooms, and we can not only just drive through Nanuet, but actually see you. So thank you very much to the class of 2020. With that, I will when I ask for motions, would somebody please say their name when they're moving or seconding the motion? The first is approval of minutes.
Ed, I'll move it.
Ed Dingman moves. Second, please.
Sarah, second.
Sarah seconds. Thank you, Sarah. I would like to add to the minutes, and I mistakenly did not do this last time. Under our consent agenda, we approved the retirement of Lynn Pinkston, who's with us a very long time. And I would like to do that with regret. Lynn was one of our people who's been with Nanuet. I can't even tell you how many years, a very, very long time. And we want to wish him the best in his retirement. So if we could add that to, with regard to his retirement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Next item on our agenda is consent agenda. I need a motion, please.
Christine, I'll move it.
Christine moves it.
Sue, I'll second.
Sue second. Any other,
Yes.
any questions, additions, deletions on the minutes, on the consent agenda? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Next item on our agenda is certified personnel. Dr. Fox.
Resolved that the resignation of Andrew Carr, music teacher in the Nanuet School District, be accepted effective 6/30/20.
Motion, please.
It's Lynn, I'll move it.
Well, Lynn moves it, second by Adrian.
Yep, thank you.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried.
That was a beautiful letter, by the way, he wrote.
Meredith, why don't you read the letter?
Sure, let me just pull it up. Dear Kevin, I write this letter to notify you and the Nanuet Board of Education of my intent to resign from my position as a K-12 music educator in the Nanuet Union Free School District, effective June 30th, 2020. This summer, I will be relocating to Midland, Texas to pursue a teaching opportunity that presented itself to me there. This decision comes with the deepest respect and gratitude for my time spent as an educator in the Nanuet schools. Serving our 5th through 12th grade Golden Knights is a privilege that I do not take lightly, and a duty I will look upon with fond memories as I continue in my teaching career. The lessons I've learned, deep connections with students I have been able to foster, and the joy I take from the art that my students and I created will stay with me long after this school year ends. I thank the Nanuet faculty, staff, and administration for their incredible support, not only of me, but of our larger arts programs and our incredibly talented student body. To teach in a community so focused on creating endless opportunities for their students is something I know is unique, and I've learned so much from the examples set by my wonderful colleagues and mentors here. In beginning my professional career at Nanuet, I feel honored to be among the ranks of accomplished music educators and talented students who I know will continue to do the great work they always do, supported by the wonderful community of which they are a part. I look forward to following their success, and I, quote, sing your praises on behalf of them all for your constant support of young musicians in Nanuet. Sincerely, Andrew Carr.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Meredith.
I
Okay.
have one more
Yep.
certified. Resolved that the resignation of Eileen Mitchell, teaching assistant in the Nanuet School District, be accepted effective 6/30/20.
Motion, please.
Sue,
I'll move it.
Moved by Ed.
Sue, I'll second it.
Sue seconds it. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is our tenure, and I have to tell you, this is the first time we haven't done it in person, and I'm missing that, relationship that we have with the teachers that are being granted tenure tonight. It's not an easy feat to be granted tenure in Nanuet. You have to really be the best of the best in order for this to happen. And I'm delighted tonight that we have several people who are going to be granted tenure. And I'm just wish that we could be there in person to thank you in person. But I know you're probably watching out there because you'll find out shortly. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for choosing Nanuet, and thank you for being exceptional teachers. So now we'll go on to tenure approvals.
Okay, so Dr. McCahill, do you want to start with the principals and then we'll read the resolution?
Yeah, we can do that. Do we
Okay.
want to start with high school, or do we want to start with elementary?
We can go in order of the resolutions if that works for you.
Sure.
Okay, so
That's a good idea.
yeah, so the first is Michael Pepe, Mike Mahoney from the high school.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's more importantly a pleasure to recognize Mr. Michael Pepe. Mr. Michael Pepe is a valued member of our science program. His ability to utilize real-world and common examples when instructing students is most notable. He understands the importance of a student-centered learning and applies this knowledge in designing lessons. Mr. Pepe currently teaches AP Chemistry and Chemistry Honors. He promotes a student-centered learning environment and accounts for individual differences. He integrates technology in all components of instruction and assessment. He demonstrates a high level of knowledge of his students. He has an appealing classroom presence, and students enjoy working in his class. He is a very positive addition to our school and enhances our students' lives. It is my pleasure to recommend Mr. Michael Pepe for tenure in science.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll read the resolution. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Michael Pepe, science teacher in the Nanuet School District, be granted tenure in the academic tenure area of science effective September 1st, 2020. And tenure will be achieved by serving beyond the effective date.
Sarah, I'll move it.
Okay. Thank you. Sarah's going to move it. Second by
Adrian?
Adrian, sorry. Didn't
That's
see
okay.
your hand.
Okay.
Second by Adrian. Anybody have any question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Pepe.
Clap you soon. Okay, Meredith.
Okay, Mike, you want to continue with Kevin Tully?
Yes, indeed. Mr. Kevin Tully began his career in Nanuet School District as a health education teacher and established himself as a valued member of the high school staff. He consistently demonstrates the ability to contribute to our school culture and the physical education department. Kevin possesses a positive outlook and is willing to embrace new approaches to improve the learning environment. I've visited Kevin Tully's classes frequently and observed a classroom atmosphere that is upbeat and student-centered. His methods promote a respectful and inclusive environment, and he promotes the development of individual wellness. Mr. Tully's experience in health education enriches our physical education department as we implement the New York State Physical Education Learning Standards 2020. He recognizes the importance of connections between our physical and mental health. This will be an asset for our students and school as we employ and develop new curriculum. It is my pleasure to recommend Mr. Kevin Tully for tenure in physical education.
Thank you. Very good.
Resolved that upon the
Dr.
recommendation.
Fox, read the resolution.
Sure. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Kevin Tully, physical education teacher in the Nanuet School District, be granted tenure in the academic tenure area of physical education effective September 1st, 2020. Tenure will be achieved by serving beyond the effective date.
Okay, I need a motion, please.
Christine, I'll move it.
Moved by Christine. Second?
Sue, I'll
Lynn, I'll
second.
second.
Second by Sue. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations, Kevin.
All right, Mr. Tully.
Congratulations. Okay, so next we have Tracy Polizzi. So I'm not sure Roger or Ann, who's gonna.
And,
Okay.
and,
Okay.
Yes,
can you hear me?
We hear you.
Okay. It is a true honor to recommend that Dr. Tracy Polizzi be honored the privilege of tenure. She is one of our psychologists in the building. She works very closely with the small classes and also with our fifth graders who we are bridging into the middle school environment. She's patient and thorough, very compassionate, always accessible to family, students, and to the staff. She's highly regarded with all of her students.
Mrs. Chen, can you try to maybe take off your
And
video?
above and beyond, she gets herself involved in the building initiatives as well as the district one. She's a critical player in our CPI program. She's taken on ruler in a very active way. She's making videos even in this at-home platform, utilizing her own family. And she's just so well connected in any situation we present her with. So it is a pleasure to recommend that she be honored tenure this evening.
Okay. Thank you, Anne. In case anybody,
Okay.
in case anybody missed any of that, Anne
Should I
is trying to
start over?
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'll just recap. Tracy has been an asset to the middle
Can
school.
you hear me?
Yeah, and you're good. You're good.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll read the resolution. Resolved that
Okay.
upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Tracy Polizzi, school psychologist in the Nanuet School District, be granted tenure in the academic tenure area of school psychology effective September 1, 2020. Tenure will be achieved by serving beyond the effective date.
Okay. I need a motion, please.
Can you hear me?
No, Ann, you're a little laggy. For all of those listening, we'll put up our blurbs for our tenured folks on our website so you can read for yourselves. Again, we all have a lot of Zoom patience these days.
Sarah, I'll move it.
Sarah moves it. A second, please.
Adrian?
Adrian seconds it. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Congratulations, Tracy.
All right, Dr. Polizzi.
All
Okay.
right, Dr. Polizzi.
All right. So next up, I believe, is Roger with Christopher McRobbie.
So Chris McRobbie, there's so many things that I can say about him, but regardless of whether he's teaching at the high school or teaching at the middle school, he is the consummate professional. His lessons are creative, thoughtful, and well-planned, and always take into consideration all the different levels of kids in a classroom. He has great relationships with parents, and his follow-up with them is second to none. He was respected by his peers from day one. He came in as such a strong teacher right out of the gate in Nanuet. He is a big proponent of growth mindset. When you go into his classroom in the middle school, there are things all over the bulletin boards that promote growth mindset for the kids, get them thinking in a different way, and also his historical references are all over the room as well, motivating the kids to get excited about history. He has a terrific rapport with the students, especially those with special needs. He finds ways to create relationships with the most difficult students or the students that have the most difficulty learning. That is a huge strength of his, and one that is so appreciated in every level that he's teaching in. He's always looking to get better. When we have post-observation conferences, he's always asking me, well, what else can I do? What conference should I go to? How can I continue to improve my craft? And that's what every principal, that's what every board member, that's what every community member wants to hear. He is the whole package. Not only is he a great teacher, but he's respected by his peers. He's a great team member, and he coaches for the district, and he's a Nanuet alum. So it doesn't get much better than that. So it is my pleasure to recommend Chris McRobbie for tenure.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Guccione. Dr. Fox?
My pleasure.
Sure. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Christopher McRobbie, special education teacher in the Nanuet School District, be granted tenure in the academic tenure area of special education effective September 1, 2020. Tenure will be achieved by serving beyond the effective date.
Ed, I'll move it.
Thank you. I need a motion, please.
Ed, I'll move it.
Moved by Ed,
Sue, I'll
second
second it.
by Sue. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Congratulations,
Congratulations.
All
Christopher.
right, Mr. McRobbie.
Welcome on board. So nice to have a nice letter. Okay,
All right. Next up is Stephen Valley, Mrs. Bonner.
Stephen Vale, who is doing that one?
Mrs. Bonner.
Mrs. Bonner, okay.
Hi, thank you for having me. It is with great pleasure that I recommend Stephen Valley for tenure. Stephen has been with us since 2014, and he is truly such a valued member of the Highview family. Stephen's compassion for his students and their families is commendable. He goes above and beyond when working with our bilingual families, not only to make sure that they are aware of their students' progress, but of school events, community happenings, and he assists them in so many other ways. He does all of this in a professional, understated manner. His students are fortunate to have him, and his bilingualism is a tremendous asset to our school and district. Stephen also goes above and beyond in our school community. He teaches our students before school in our AIS programs, and he runs Homework Club after school. He also participates in several K-12 committees, and he works collaboratively with his co-teachers. Everyone speaks so highly of Stephen and the work that he does within our school. Stephen can even be seen impersonating Kelso in the frog costume, but don't tell any kids. We are very fortunate to gain such a dedicated, compassionate, and caring professional. It is truly a pleasure to work with Stephen every day, and his students love him dearly.
Thank you, Mrs. Bonner. I need a motion, please. Oh, you want to do the
I'm
resolution?
going to read the resolution. Yep. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Stephen Valley, English as a second language teacher in the Nanuet School District, be granted tenure in the academic tenure area of English as a second language effective September 1, 2020. Tenure will be achieved by serving beyond the effective date.
Great. Thank you. I need a motion, please.
Sarah,
I'll move it.
Sarah moves, Lynn second. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations.
Gotta love a guy unafraid to wear a costume, right?
Okay. Next up is Amy Rios. So Mary Ellen Griffin is going to talk to us about Amy.
Good evening, everyone. It's with great pleasure that I recommend Amy for tenure as an elementary ed teacher. She has been in Miller for the majority of her tenure period. She did go to Highview when our enrollment went down for 1 year and came back very happily. I believe that Amy was born to be a kindergarten teacher. She embraces her class both academically and from a socially emotional perspective, and teaches those. It's such a nice blend of both in her classroom. Her relationship with her students is safe and trusted, and the relationships she's developed with her families is as deep as with the students, especially in this new environment that we're teaching in. And she's not afraid to take risks. She brings great information and ideas to her team as a colleague. She works as part of our technology committee with Ursula and has done a great job with that as well. She's not afraid to ask questions, takes feedback really well, and implements it in her classroom immediately. She's a pleasure to have at Miller, and it's with great confidence that I recommend her for tenure as an elementary ed teacher.
Thank you very much, Meredith.
Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Amy Rios, elementary teacher in the Nanuet School District, be granted tenure in the academic tenure area of elementary effective September 1, 2020. Tenure will be achieved by serving beyond the effective date.
I need a motion, please.
I'll move it.
Moved by Sue,
Christine, I'll second.
second by Christine. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Congratulations, Amy.
Congratulations, Amy.
Yay.
All right, Amy.
And last but not least, we're going to stay with Mrs. Griffin for Helene McCauley.
Okay, great. It's also with great confidence that I recommend Helene McCauley for tenure as a teaching assistant within our Nanuet School District. She has been at Miller in various capacities as a teaching assistant, and I can't tell you that she displays professionalism in every task that I give her. She is flexible and will take on whatever she's asked to do. She has developed such deep relationships with her students that she's able to deliver effective instruction under Mr. Ferran and Mrs. Murray and Mrs. Adjech, who she works with right now, just beautifully. And her help with them on this online platform has also been just profound. And she's involved in their Zoom meetings and facilitating the pen pals at George Miller with the teachers and students themselves. She's such an asset to our building. She comes with a smile every day and really knows how to approach students who might be struggling. And we're blessed to have her. So it's with great pleasure that I recommend her for tenure as a teaching assistant.
Very much. Resolution, please.
Sure. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Helene McCauley, teaching assistant in the Nanuet School District, be granted tenure as a teaching assistant effective September 1, 2020. Tenure will be achieved by serving beyond the effective date.
Okay. Need
Ed,
a
I'll move
motion,
it.
please. Moved by Ed, second
second.
by
Adrian?
Adrian, second by Adrian. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Helene, congratulations.
Congrats, Helene and Amy and everybody.
Congratulations.
It's so wonderful to see this group of people who've gotten tenure. We've all read through their tenure packets and they're outstanding educators. So I want to congratulate you all. I know you're out there listening. You're now tenured. And I know that's a huge, huge step in the life of a teacher to be known by your colleagues as being worthy of giving tenure. And Nanuet, like I said earlier, Nanuet, it's not an easy thing to get tenure. You have to be the best of the best. So congratulations to you all. We're delighted to have you as part of the Nanuet family and hopefully for many, 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 many years to come. So congratulations to everybody. Okay, the next item, let's see, we go from a high of tenure to budget transfers. Sorry, Mario. Mr. Spagnolo.
Yes, I won't take it personally. There's two resolutions. Be it resolved that the Nanuet Board of Education approves the attached authorization for budget transfer dated May 19th, 2020 in the amount of $167,392 for the general fund, and be it resolved that the Nanuet Board of Education approves the attached authorization for budget transfer dated May 19th, 2020 in the amount of $13,000 for the general fund.
Okay, motion please.
Sarah, I'll move it.
Sarah moves it, second by?
Lynn, I'll second.
Lynn seconds. Anybody have any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Thank you. Next up on our agenda is the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Byrne. So I just want to start out by, reiterating a welcome to all of our new tenured recruits. Welcome to the family. It does mean a whole heck of a lot to be tenured in a school district, especially in a school district like Nanuet. I can say with confidence that I've heard every single one of their names individually shared by their principals or their colleagues or district level leaders in this last 9 weeks alone, for stepping up and doing different things. So although they're brand new to our tenured recruit class, so many of them have already stepped up as veterans, teaching some of our veteran teachers new technologies and lending a hand in different areas that they're comfortable with as we all reinvent and learn how to be teachers in some of these new environments. So welcome to you all. Congratulations to you and your family. We're proud to have you in our Nanuet Proud School community family. So welcome. The next thing I'd like to say, and reiterating once again and doubling down on what Anne mentioned at her open about Annie Dabalier, my partner. Annie helps me run the district on a daily basis, helping me through my emails, keeping me connected to all of our meetings, while she's also spinning a plate that the governor handed to us in this new voting process done by mail, with a window of maybe 2 weeks to put together the first ever public school in New York State budget vote via mail absentee ballot. And Annie's been doing that stuff, by herself, collaborating with her fellow colleagues in the county. So I just want to reiterate and say thank you once again to Annie Dabalier for her ability to just manage so many different things at one time. From a personal note, I don't think I can do this without you, or I know I couldn't do this without you. And so thank you very much. A huge debt of gratitude for your professionalism, your intelligence, and your ability to lead. So thank you so much. Yay, Annie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My next highlight for superintendent report. These superintendent reports are becoming more like shout outs, because I think that's what we all need right now. We're all doing so many different things, but I'd like to cast a spotlight on Ashley Columbia and Scott Salado. So Ashley Columbia, for those of you listening that don't know, is our marketing and media specialist that joined our team this year from Rockland Boces. Scott Salado heads the Rockland Boces communication team. And so we hired Ashley this year to join our leadership team, work with our principals, work with our district level staff, and work with our teachers to push out all of the important things from our mission, our important goals that we create each year with our Board of Education and our leadership team, and talking about all of the good things that are happening in our classroom. So I hope the community that's listening, I hope that the board and everyone else that's following us on all of our new communication devices, like our social media platforms, see that we've amped up and we've elevated our level of connection with kids, with families, and with our Proud School community. Even since the close on the 13th, we've really ramped up the things that we're doing online. So I hope that everybody sees that work. She's working really, really hard, doing a wonderful job connecting with all of us, our weekly missions, making sure that we're getting engagement from our families, keeping our kids connected. So thank you to Ashley Columbia, and thank you to Scott Salado for their expertise, their professionalism, and their partnership. If it's not happening on social media these days, it's not happening. So thank you for being our megaphone and showing our community how much we love them and how much we love for them to engage with us each and every day. The next person that I would like to highlight is someone that's been a part of our leadership team for a very long time. But I think that this environment has really offered him the opportunity to maybe step out from the crowd and show us his passion for leadership and instructional technology leadership in Chris Polizzi, Mr. Polizzi. Good night for the Polizzis. He has been outstanding. He's been, one of my right-hand leaders in navigating all of our Google software, all the software that the school district is using. Every day at 1 o'clock, Chris Polizzi leads a professional development class workshop for our entire school community. He offers professional development for all of our families. He runs our surveys. He troubleshoots any technology issue that our teachers have. He teaches them how to do new things. He's stretching them. He's asking them to try new things. And I will say, second to receiving forwarded emails from parents who are grateful for our teachers who are doing an amazing job with their children each day, I receive the most emails from our staff commending Mr. Polizzi for all of his work and his professional development, his partnership with our teachers. So I'd like to say publicly, thank you to Chris Polizzi. We're grateful for your expertise. We're grateful that you stepped up in this environment and really took the lead as our instructional technology leader. So thank you to Chris. And last but not least, is not so much a shout out, but more of an informational piece. We are working diligently on a re-entry plan. We have 2 levels of teams working right now in Rockland County. We have a Rockland County re-entry team that has representatives from all the school districts. A number of important stakeholders from each school district sits on a county re-entry plan team. And then we also here in Nanuet have our own Nanuet re-entry team that is filled with district leaders, building level leaders, teacher leaders, parents, custodians, secretaries, anyone you could think of that leads in our school community are a part of the strategic team so that we can really dot our I's, cross our T's, kind of cover as much of the map as we can so that we are ready for re-entry, which is the goal. Of course, we have our eyes and ears open for everything that comes down from the governor's office and everything from the medical world. Of course, safety is our #1 goal for our children and for our staff and our community. But we do have a very intense re-entry plan design that has been created and that work has already begun. So I just want to assure the community and our staff and our students listening that we are action planning for this. We are excited to have everybody return, and we're going to do whatever we have to do, whatever society needs from our public schools in whatever way, shape, or form that is. We're going to meet that demand, and we're going to pitch in because that's what we're here for. So I just wanted to share that as well, that the entry plan is a really, really big and important aspect of the end of this school year, as well as the summer to get us ready for re-entry. So thank you, Mrs. Byrne. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Dr. McHale. Next up on our agenda is unfinished business, and under the first one, to review public questions. I only received 2 questions this past week, and the first one was about our usage of our OEC.
Yeah, I'll field that one. I too have received some personal emails as well. And, all I can say to start this off is that I hear you. The OEC is gorgeous. It's got that wonderful, meditation gazebo, beautiful open grasslands with trees, a track to walk around, our gardens. It's where we want to be these days when we pull away from our screens. But unfortunately, I am still prohibited by the Executive Order 202.4 from the governor's office that all schools in the state of New York are to remain closed to the public until further notice from the governor's office. So, a lot of folks in the community have been, comparing us to county parks or to town parks, Clarkstown parks, county parks as well. I don't have the authority to open up school parks, school campus to the public just yet. I look forward to the week when we receive guidance that maybe we're in phase 1 as a school of a reopen. And in a phase 1, I believe there is some lightening of sort of recreational access to our parks, our playgrounds. But for right now, for the safety of the children that are slated to use this space, we are still closed to the public, unfortunately.
Thank you, Dr. McHale. The second question, I think this is probably one for you, Mario, is is the library sharing the cost of the balloting and for the budget and for the board members.
There are several forms of libraries in New York State. Ours happens to be a school district library, as opposed to the libraries we have within the schools, but it's a school district based library. Therefore, we're responsible for helping them run the election as well as other things. They don't pay us anything for that, nor can we charge them. It also comes from the same taxpayer base anyway. It's coterminous. So it's one or the other.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Spagnuolo. Those are the only two questions I had. Just one thing I'd like to do under unfinished business is to remind everybody, please, 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 please fill out the census. This is really important. We have not had, I think we've just maybe gotten over the majority of New Yorkers have filled it out, but this is billions and billions and billions of dollars that New York State will lose. And a lot of those dollars come to us, for education if people don't fill out the census. Just to let you know, the census, anybody who fills out the census, that information does not go anywhere else. It stays with the Census Bureau. It is perfectly safe to do this. And we're begging everyone, if you live in a Nanuet school district, please fill out the census and make sure you put down every person in your household, including your preschoolers. Because one of the things they found out in the last census, on the national census, is people only put down their school age children. They forgot about putting down all children. So anyone who resides in your household is part of the census for your household. So please, please, please do that. Next item on our unfinished business is our first reading of a new policy 8635 with the regulation and exhibits on data privacy, security, breach, and notification. Who's taking that one?
I could just give you a broad outline if it's helpful. I don't think we have to read the whole thing. It's very lengthy. This is the implementation regulations, implementation policy for the Ed Law 2D law and regulations. Ed Law 2D was passed about 5 years ago. The state just got to the regulations about a year ago. It's basically trying to provide privacy to our students through the software products that we use. The most important aspect of this policy, and there's multiple levels of it, is for every software product we buy that's not through BOCES or the RIC, we have to have the manufacturer, the owner of it, sign our parents' bill of rights individually. And we have to keep that signature on file, which makes it hard to use some of the products. That's all software that uses personal information of students. BOCES has their own, and the RIC has their own parents' bill of rights, which we just subscribe to as part of it if they've already gone with the bigger company. So this is going to be, going forward, at least a governor on which software we can use. But it's required.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Spagnuolo. Would you read the resolution?
Bear with me 1 minute.
Sure.
There's really no resolution so much as it's just the first reading, and then we'll do the second reading in 2 weeks.
Okay. So I need approval for the first reading of a new policy 8635 that has to do with data privacy, security, breach, and notification. I need a motion, please.
Sarah, I'll move it.
Sarah moves it, second by
Christine, I'll second it.
Christine seconds it. Anybody have any questions on this? This is rather complicated and very long, but I can see why we would need that. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? It's passed. We'll do the second reading at our next board meeting. Anybody on the board have anything else they'd like to bring up under unfinished business? Okay, we go on to new business. Rockland County School Boards Association. Christine.
So we had a meeting recently, a Zoom meeting, of course, and trying to finish up this year and make some plans for next year. So The executive board is all set because they do a 2-year term. So everyone is staying on. So the slate of officers is the same. We are still looking for a new executive director, and they have some possibilities, but it was just put out again, opened up for resumes and interest from people, because there was a little bit of a, I guess, a misunderstanding that, yeah, I guess you can call it misunderstanding, that you were not allowed to be an executive director if you were a current board member and you were a sitting board member, that would be a conflict of interest. But apparently there is nothing governing that, and saying there's no governing documents or anything saying that you can't be a sitting board member and executive director. But so they did open it up again to see, who is interested, because I guess that kept some people maybe from applying. So we're going to see the deadline's tomorrow, the 20th, for that. There are some cancellations already happening. The joint dinner that usually happens over at the Doubletree in Tarrytown in November, they already canceled that. That was for Rockland, Dutchess, Putnam, Westchester, that superintendent's joint dinner. That's been canceled as of now already. So we'll see, and it's quite a bit ahead, but I'm sure there's more to come, unfortunately. And so we have one more meeting on June 8th, and that is going to be our final meeting where we approve the budget and kind of finalize things for next year.
Okay, great, thank you. New York State and National School Boards Association, all I can say is that several parts of the state by the governor's orders have been opened, so things are a little bit different, but we're in one of those areas that he hasn't opened yet. And we do have to follow the rules and regulations of governor's executive orders, as well as what the health people are telling us. So a lot of the decisions that we make as a school district has to do with both of those, both the governor's orders and the health people's orders. So if people want to know how we come to those decisions, it's by those two venues. Other than that, there's nothing exciting happening, other than every day everybody listens to the governor's report at 11:30 to see if he's opening up new places or if he has new things for schools, or if he, and so, everybody's just waiting to see what happens. He did start a reinventing education committee, I think with Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation and a couple of other billionaires, which we'll see where that goes. I'm not really happy that they don't really have any people on the field, any educators, administrators, et cetera, on that committee. It's only billionaires and they're mostly tech people. So it seems to me they want to go more towards tech learning. If we've learned anything else in this last 9 weeks, is technology is wonderful. There's nothing like face-to-face in the classroom teaching with your children. The children need that, the teachers need that. So I find it really interesting. On the other hand, I was very impressed that the Board of Regents set up their own little committee. And on that committee is everybody who's involved in education. And that's a really good thing, because people who are on the ground, people who are in education, people who teach, people who are administrators, people who are on the board, our attorneys who are involved in education, really do know what's going on in schools and what is best for kids. So I'm delighted that the Board of Regents did do that, because it was all being very one-sided. I did write a letter to the governor saying that I was very upset that he was having a commission to reinvent education without a single educator on it. I did hear that he put on Randy Weingarten at last minute, so I know we do have a head of the AFT that is on that committee, but nobody in the regular classroom. So of course I didn't hear back from him, but I didn't expect to. But anyway, so that's what's happening in New York State National. There's really nothing. Next on our agenda is a nomination for Area 10 Director. Our Area 10 Director right now is Peggy Zuckerby, and she is running for re-election.
Reading resolved that the Nanuet School District Board of Education, this is so small, nominate Peggy Zuckerby as NYSBA Area 10 Director for 2021-22. And I need a motion for that, please. I know there's a little delay, but I do need someone to Is that?
It's Lynn, I'll move it.
Okay, Lynn Fahmy. Second, please.
I'll second.
Christine. Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This will be sent to our district clerk. This will be sent up to the New York State School Board Association with the resolution and signed by whomever has to sign it. Okay, thank you. A local government. Anyone on the board have anything that they wish to bring up under local government? Okay. Next, import district clerk.
Thanks, Ann. I just want to read some general information about the upcoming budget vote, which may be helpful. Per the governor's executive order 202.26, the annual budget vote and school board elections will be held Tuesday, June 9th by absentee ballot only. All eligible voters of the district will receive automatically in the mail an absentee ballot with a prepaid postage return envelope. Completed ballots must be mailed back, so they are received by the district clerk by June 9th at 5 p.m. Due to COVID-19, there will be no personal registration for this year's election. If you are registered to vote in the general election, you are eligible to vote for the school budget. If you are not registered, you can register with the Rockland County Board of Elections remotely through an application process that's on the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles website. We have that information posted on the website as well. It is recommended that you do so as soon as possible. So this way, you know, you would be on the list of our absentee ballots because they will be going out shortly. For this year's election, we have 3 incumbent candidates, running for the Board of Education. That's Ann Byrne, Ed Dingman, and Lynn Fahmy. And we also have 1 incumbent candidate running for the Nanuet Public Library Board, and that's Meta Rossi. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I know you're going to have a lot of work ahead of you, Annie, with having to count all of that. So again, thank you. Thank you for all the hard work that you've done for this.
Oh, thank you. We'll get through it.
Okay. I know we will. I know we will. We have great people. That's why we'll get through it. Okay, next item is adjournment of meeting. I need a resolution or to adjourn. Nobody wants to go. Everybody wants to stay.
Sue,
So Chris, second by Ed. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Okay, take care, everyone.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Good week.
Stay well.
Good night.
Okay, I'm coming back.